Hare Krishna. Thank you, Nitish Prabhu. Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Tanvat Pranam. Jai Shri Prabhupada. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Namaham Vishnu Padaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminate Namine. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashat Deshatarine. जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैता गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे. Hare Krishna. Okay. We'll continue with our prayer of the week. Anybody who would like to do the honors of reading or singing the prayers today? Link is in the chat. Anybody wants to try?
I can try Prabhuji for few verses.
Hari Bol. Very nice. Yes.
भवजलधिगतानां द्वन्द्ववाताहतानां सुतादुहीर्तकलत्रत्राणभारातिथानां विषमविषयतो ये मजताम् आप्लवानां भवति शरणम् एको विष्णुभूतो नराणां भवजलधिमकादं दुस्तरं निष्त्रयेयं कथमहम् इति चेतो मास्मगातारत्वं सरसिजदृशिदेवे तारकी भक्तिरेका नरकविधिनिशाना तारयिष्यति अवश्यम् तृष्णातो ये मदनपवन नोदुतामोहोर्मिमाले दारावर्ते तनयसहज ग्रासङ्घाकुले च संसाराख्ये महति जलधौ मज्जतां नस्त्रिधामं पादाम्भोजे वरद भवतो भक्तिनाभं प्रयच्छ. Okay, Roj, I don't know how to. Then from 14, I don't know the tune.
These are all the same, right, Matai? So yeah, like Prithvi Renu Payamshi Kanika Falgu Pulingo
Lagos Tejo Nishwanam Maruttanutaram Randram Susukshmam Nava Shudra Rutra Pitamaha Prabhritya Gita Samasta Shura Drishte Yatra Satarako Vijayate Shripadaduli हे लोकाश्रिनुत प्रसूति मरण व्यदेश्चित् चिकित्सम् इमं योगज्ञानसमुदाहरन्ति मुनयो यज्ञवल्क्यधा अन्तर्ज्योतिरमेयम् एकम् अमृतं कृष्णख्यमपि यतं तत्पीतं परमसौधं वितनुते निर्वणम् अत्यनिक्तं हे मर्त्या परमं हितं शृणुतवो वक्ष्यामि सङ्ख्ये सेपेतः संसारानवम् अपद उर्मि बहुलं सम्यक् प्रविश्य स्थितः नानाज्ञानम् अपस्य चेतसि नमो नारायणेति अमं मन्त्रं स प्रणवं प्रणम सहितं प्रवर्ध्ययं मुहुः नाथेन पुरुषोत्तमे त्रिजगताम् एकाधिपे चेतसा सेव्ये स्वस्य पदस्य दातरि परे नारायणे तिष्ठति यं कञ्चित् पुरुषोधमं कतिपयग्रामेशम् अल्पार्थं सेवाये मृगयां महे नरम् अहो मूढा वरकाव्यवयम् बधाने जालिना नतेन शिरासागात्रिस रोमो गमहि कण्ठेनास्वरगद्गदेन नयनेनो गीराभास्मा पुनः नित्यं त्वच्चरणारविन्दयुगल ध्यानामृतसावधीनम् अस्माकं साराशिरोषका सततं सम्पद्यतं जीवितं यत्कृष्णा प्रणिपाते धूलि त्वलं तद्वर्षमत वै शिरस्ते नेत्रे तसमोजितेषु रुचिरेयाभ्यं हरिर्दृश्यते सा बुद्धिर्विमलेन्दुशङ्ख ज्वालाया माधवध्यायिनी सा जीवामृतवर्षिणी प्रतिपदं या स्तौति नारायणम् जीवे कीर्तय केशवं मुररिपुं चेतोपश्रीधरं पाणिद्वन्द्वसमर्चयाच्युत गाथाश्रोतद्वयतं शृणु कृष्णं लोकय लोचनाद्वय हरेर्गञ्जाग्रीयुग्मालयं जिग्राग्रानमुकुन्दपदतुलसीं मूर्धन्यामधोक्षजम् Hare Krishna. Sorry, Prabhu.
Oh, nice. That's so nice. Thank you for trying. You have to take the first step, right? And take the first step. Then, when the Lord takes 100 steps towards us. So, thank you so much for trying.
Thank you for
Yes. And you did well. Just this this tune,
last two verses are different. Yes.
it's called Shardula Vikriditam. Actually, these are very nice. I mean, I think Vishwanath Prabhu has shared the flyers in the groups many times. That Vishwanath Prabhu, me, and some of us have taken the Sanskrit recitation class with Amarendra Prabhu. So, for those who are interested, I think you should take that. It is very nice and it'll help us. And everything he teaches is based on, like, even the Sanskrit grammar is basically coming from Srila Jiva Goswami. But everything is tied back to Krishna somehow or other. So even grammar, the IE that we learn, everything is tied back to Krishna. So it's wonderful, his classes. So yeah, but whenever he starts a new batch, usually either I or Vishwanath will post it in the chat in the group. We can learn from him. It is very nice. But yeah, all these meters are the same. They call us meters. So different meters depending on how many syllables are there in each verse. So this one has 19 syllables. So it is broken up into 12 plus 9 syllables. So and each of them has a name, Shardula Vikrididam, which is like a roaring of a lion. So it roars like a lion, this particular verse.
Good to know that.
Yeah, thank you so much, Shri Mataji. Okay, anybody would like to read the translations for these beautiful verses? 11 to 20.
I can read, Prabhuji, if nobody is.
Yeah, please go ahead, Mataji. Yeah.
The people in this vast ocean of birth and death are being blown about by the winds of material dualities. As they flounder in the perilous waters of sense indulgence with no boat to help them, they are sorely distressed by the need to protect their sons, daughters, and wives. Only the boat that is Lord Vishnu can save them. Dear mind, do not bewilder yourself by anxiously thinking, how can I cross this fathomless and impassable ocean of material existence? There is one who can save you, devotion. If you offer her to the lotus-eyed Lord, the killer of Narkasura, she will carry you across this ocean without fail. O Lord of the three worlds, we are drowning in the vast ocean of samsara, which is filled with the waters of material hankering, with many waves of illusion whipped up by the winds of lust, with whirlpools of wives, and with vast schools of sharks and other sea monsters who are our sons and brothers. O giver of all benedictions, please grant me a place on the boat of devotion that is your lotus feet. Once our Savior has been seen, the whole earth becomes no greater than a speck of dust. All the waters of the ocean become mere droplets. The totality of fire becomes a minute spark. The winds become just a faint sigh, and the expanse of space becomes a tiny hole. Great lords like Rudra and Grandfather Brahma become insignificant, and all the demigods become like small insects. Indeed, even one particle of dust from our Lord's feet conquers all. O people, please hear of this treatment for the disease of birth and death. It is the name of Krishna, recommended by Yajnavalkya and other expert yogis steeped in wisdom. This boundless eternal inner light is the best medicine for, when drunk, it bestows complete and final liberation. Just drink it. O mortal beings, you have submerged yourselves fully in the ocean of material existence, which is filled with the waves of misfortune. Please hear as I briefly tell you how to attain your supreme benefit. Just put aside your various attempts at gaining knowledge and instead begin constantly chanting the mantra Om Namo Narayana and bowing down to the Lord. Our Master, the personality of Godhead Narayana, who alone rules the three worlds, whom one can serve in meditation, and who happily shares his personal domain, is manifest before us. Yet still we beg for the service of some minor lord of a few villages, some lowly man who can only meagerly reward us. Alas, what foolish wretches we are! O lotus eyed Lord, please sustain our lives as we constantly relish the nectar of meditating on your lotus feet, with our palms prayerfully joined, our heads bowed down, our bodily hair standing up in jubilation, our voices choked with emotion, and our eyes flowing with tears. That head is the loftiest, which is white with dust from bowing down to Lord Krishna. Those eyes are the most beautiful, which darkness has abandoned after which they have seen Lord Hari. That intelligence is spotless, like the white glow of the moon or a conch shell, which concentrates on Lord Madhav, and that tongue rains down nectar, which constantly glorifies Lord Narayan. O tongue, praise the glories of Lord Keshava. O mind, worship the enemy of Mura. O hands, serve the Lord of Shri. O ears, hear the topics of Lord Achyuta. O eyes, gaze upon Sri Krishna. O feet, go to the temple of Lord Hari. O nose, smell the tulsi buds on Lord Mukunda's feet. O head, bow down to Lord Adokshaja. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Shri Mataji. Wonderful citation and translation. Shri Mukundmala Stotra ki jai. Shri Alvar ki jai. Shri Prabhupada ki jai. Okay, so that will continue our reading of Shri Prabhupada Leelamrit. Yesterday we are on chapter 14. Number 14 has a significance. We are also in the month of Lord Ramachandra, who went in for 14 years of Vanvas, exile, and he was, just as he had to face so much of hardships. Of course, that was all the Leela of the Lord. Similarly, we are reading the Leelamrit of Prabhupada, and this is the 14th chapter. This is also titled Struggling Alone. So just like Lord Ramchandra was struggling in the forest, but still it was the Leela of the Lord. Here Prabhupada is struggling here, but still it is the Leela of Prabhupada. So wonderful. Reading yesterday, we saw Prabhupada's his purity and his devotion coming through, where we could see like even a Mayavadi, Dr. Mishra. After that, he's reflecting that how just simple chanting that Prabhupada did, completely captivated all of them. He was saying like, all his students would stand up and chant and sing and dance, when Prabhupada was chanting and doing kirtan. He was saying 99% of the students would stand up and dance. And Prabhupada used to say 99% of our success depends on our chanting. So that was nice. And then also that other American gentleman who was there for the meditation, when Prabhupada started talking to him, he felt as if there was like some ecstatic feelings that he was having in his heart, and he felt as if here's my guru, he's my teacher, and how much of simplicity and purity was there in his words. So
we need that kind of devotee Prabhu, like Prabhu, Srila Prabhupada, because this Maya is so powerful.
yes,
Because we know there are certain do's and don'ts, but we do a lot of do's, but sometimes we also follow some don'ts. So Maya covers so hardly or heavily to us. Sometimes we do mistakes. So that's why we are not actually, we will take time to become pure devotee or consistent devotee rather than seasonal devotee. But let's see, we are trying our best. We are on the path.
Yes. Yes. If we follow the instructions, there may be some pitfalls, or you know, some situations that where we may fail. It is not always rosy, right? But as long as we remember and we recognize that, this is where I went wrong, and then we remember the again instructions of our gurus, instructions of our acharyas, then following their instructions again next day morning, again every day. That's why every day is a beautiful day. Next day, forget what happened in the past with learning from the mistakes that we did, and then start our next day afresh. That is what we have to do. I mean, that is the endeavor that is in our control, and then with that, the Lord will continue to bless us. Acharyas will continue to bless us. So yeah. Okay, so let's continue reading. I can continue reading if that's okay. So we are reading from this paragraph. Hurta Lurj, a student at Anand Ashram. My direct encounter with him was in the kitchen. He was very particular and very definite that he would only eat what he cooked himself. He would come and say, "Get me a pot." So when I brought him a pot, he would say, "No, bigger." So I brought a bigger pot, and he'd say, "No, smaller." Then he would say, "Get me potato." So I'd bring him a potato. He prepared food very, very quietly. He never spoke very much. He prepared potatoes and then some vegetables and then chapatis. After cooking, he would eat outside. He would usually cook enough to go around for Dr. Mishra and about 5 or 6 other people. Every day he would cook that much when he was there. I learned to make chapatis from him. He usually stayed only for the weekends and then went back to the city. I think he felt that that was where his main work was to be done. That was certainly true, but what could he do there with no money or support? He was thinking of staying for only a few weeks and then going back to India. In the meantime, he was working on his Srimad Bhagavatam manuscripts, walking in Manhattan and writing letters. He was studying a new culture, calculating practically and imagining hopefully how to introduce Krishna consciousness to the Western world. He expressed his thoughts to Sumati Morarji, October 27, 1965. So far as I have studied, the American people are very much eager to learn about the Indian way of spiritual realization, and there are so many so called yoga ashrams in America. Unfortunately, they are not very much adored by the government, and it is learned that such yoga ashrams have exploited the innocent people, as has been the case in India also. The only hope is that they are spiritually inclined, and immense benefit can be done to them if the cult of Srimad Bhagavatam is preached here. Srila Prabhupada noted that the Americans were also giving a good reception to Indian art and music. Just to see the mode of reception, he attended the performance of a Madrasi dancer, Bala Saraswati. I went to see the dance with a friend, although for the last 40 years I have never attended such dance ceremonies. The dancer was successful in her demonstration. The music was an Indian classical tune, mostly in Sanskrit language, and the American public appreciated them. So I was encouraged to see the favorable circumstances about my future preaching work. He said the Bhagavatam could also be preached through music and dance, but he had no means to introduce it. The Christian missions, backed by huge resources, were preaching all over the world. So why couldn't the devotees of Krishna combine to preach the Bhagavatam all over the world? He also noted that the Christian missions had not been effective in checking the spread of communism, whereas the Bhagavatam movement could be because of its philosophical scientific approach. He was deliberately planting a seed of inspiration in the mind of the devoted, wealthy Sumati Morarji. November 8. Prabhupada wrote to his godbrother Tirtha Maharaj, who had become president of the Gaudiya Math, to remind him that their spiritual master Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati had a strong desire to open preaching centers in the Western countries. Srila Bhakti Siddhanta had several times attempted to do this by sending sannyasis to England and other European countries, but Prabhupada noted, without any tangible results. I have come to this country with the same purpose in view, and as far as I can see, here in America there is very good scope for preaching the cult of Lord Chaitanya. Prabhupada pointed out that there were certain Mayavadi groups who had buildings, but were not attracting many followers. But he had talked with Swami Nikhilananda of the Ramakrishna Mission, who had given the opinion that the Americans were suitable for bhakti yoga. I am here and see a good field for work, but I am alone, without men and money. To start a center here, we must have our own buildings. I was talking about to start a center here. That is our goal, right? We are starting centers after centers. Hopefully, with His mercy, someday we'll be able to start a temple as well. But right now, he's talking about starting a center. So, Jai Ho. To start a center here, we must have our own buildings. Okay. If the leaders of the Gaudiya Math would consider opening their own branch in New York, Srila Prabhupada would be willing to manage it. But without their own house, he reported, they could not conduct a mission in the city. Srila Prabhupada wrote that they could open centers in many cities throughout the country if his God brothers would cooperate. He repeatedly made the point that although other groups did not have the genuine spiritual philosophy in India, they were buying many buildings. The Gaudiya Math, however, had nothing. If you agree to cooperate with me as I have suggested above, then I shall extend my visa period. My present visa period ends by the end of this November. But if I receive your confirmation immediately, then I shall extend my visa period. Otherwise, I shall return to India. November 9, 1965, 6 p.m. While Prabhupada sat alone in his fifth floor room in Dr. Mishra's yoga studio, the lights suddenly went out. This was his experience of the first moments of the New York City blackout of 1965. In India, power failure occurred commonly, so Prabhupada, while surprised to find the same thing in America, remained undisturbed. He began chanting the Hare Krishna mantra on his beads. Meanwhile, outside his room, the entire New York metropolitan area had been plunged into darkness. The massive power failure had suddenly left the entire city without electricity, trapping 800,000 people in the subways and affecting more than 30 million people in 9 states and 3 Canadian provinces. 2 hours later, a man from Dr. Mishra's apartment arrived at the door with candles and some fruit. He found Prabhupada in a pleasant mood, sitting there in the darkness, chanting Hare Krishna. The man informed him of the serious nature of such a blackout in New York City. Prabhupada thanked him and returned again to his chanting. The blackout lasted until 7 the next morning. Srila Prabhupada received a reply to his letter of November 8 to Tirtha Maharaj in Calcutta. Prabhupada had explained his hopes and plans for staying in America, but he had stressed that his god brothers would have to give him their vote of confidence as well as some tangible support. His god brothers had not been working cooperatively. Each leader was interested more in maintaining his own building than in working with the others to spread the teachings of Lord Chaitanya around the world. So, how would it be possible for them to share Srila Prabhupada's vision of establishing a branch in New York City? They would see it as his separate attempt. Yet, despite the unlikely odds, he appealed to their missionary spirit and reminded them of the desires of their spiritual master, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. Their Guru Maharaj wanted Krishna consciousness to be spread in the West, but when Prabhupada finally got Tirtha Maharaj's reply, he found it unfavorable. His god brother did not argue against it attempting something in New York, but he politely said that the Gaudiya Math funds could not be used for such a proposal. Prabhupada replied, "It is not very encouraging. Still, I am not a man to be disappointed." In fact, he found little hope in Tirtha Maharaj's reply, so he described to his god brother the property he had recently found for sale at 143 West 72nd Street. The building, only 18.5 feet wide and 100 feet deep, consisted of the first floor store, a basement, and a mezzanine. Prabhupada presented Tirtha Maharaj the price, $100,000, with a $20,000 cash down payment, and remarked that this building was twice the size of the research institute in Calcutta. Prabhupada conceived of the basement as a kitchen and dining area, the first floor as a lecture hall, and the mezzanine as personal apartments, with a separate area for the deity of Lord Krishna. Appropriately, Prabhupada had described himself as a man not to be disappointed. He was convinced that if there were a center where people could come hear from a pure devotee, the genuine God conscious culture of India could begin in America. Yet, because he had made his plans dependent on obtaining an expensive building in Manhattan, his goal seemed unreachable. Still, he was persistently writing to prominent devotees in India, though they were not interested in his plans. Hare Krishna. Stop here for today. Anything that we liked, loved, or learned from today? Just reflect again how this movement started, right? With such simple thinking, simple living and high thinking that Prabhupada had. But yeah, just with a simple center, and yeah, his mind was always of how he can give this wonderful knowledge of bhakti to everybody around. And yeah, he was not, while his visions were big still, he wanted to start with the center. He wants to get some buildings, and just simple, his vision again, like having a dining area for prasadam, having first floor for the katha classes, and then the second floor for staying and for deities of Lord Shri Krishna. His like you could see like his vision was already there of how he wanted to bring it to life. It was just a matter of time that, like he used to say always, that it's just time is separating us from everything. All the temples are already there. It is just the time that is separating us. But yeah, Srila Prabhupada, yeah, everything that we read here kind of takes us back and forth between where we are today, 50, 60 years after he started the movement, and from where humble beginnings, where everything started in a small riverfront in New York. Even like his this blackout reminded, like when he was in the Radha Damodar temple we were reading earlier before coming to the US, when he was writing all his translations in the Radha Damodar temple in Vrindavan in a small room. How you would see, like he would write under the canton, under the lantern light. He would be translating the work. There was no electricity, right? So for him, he was not puzzled by any of these things that were happening. But yeah, you could see how many people just who are in the darkness of illusion, they were blinded by this darkness, this apparent power failure that happened. But somebody who is illuminated by the torchlight of knowledge that has been given by his Guru Maharaj, he's not bamboozled by such apparent power failures. So anyway, those are some thoughts. Any other things that anybody liked from today's reading?
So I was reading one of the sloka yesterday. I mean, in the online class of Gita, 8 o'clock, I generally attend Prabhuji. So I was relating to this today's reading, right? Like in that Gita, Akshay Prabhu, right? Columbus, Akshay Prabhu.
Yes.
He was telling, like in that Gita, explaining like what is our next body, next family, next environment will come based on the current karma, right? What you keep desiring it, based on that you will get the next body, next loka. Loka means like 14 planetary system we have, right? So like Srila Prabhupada, like a devotee, I know we can't do it, but if we'll not get a chance, I'm just asking, then I don't know whether God will give us, same family or similar kind of family, because we have to go to the again reincarnation, right? Rather than going to a animal body or bird or something, right? So that's what I'm thinking. Like for us, it is big goal to become, consistent, pure devotee, but I don't think so. We will definitely keep trying, but not sure where we'll reach before leaving this earth.
Yeah, if we have strong faith, conviction, you're following the path, Prabhu, then everything will happen. Yeah, like that's where devotees go. Devotees don't go to the 14 planetary systems. They go to Vaikuntha, right? Because Vaikuntha means this is the Kuntha. This is the material world of miseries and anxieties, dualities. But Vaikuntha means that abode of the Lord, which is without anxieties. So yeah, we don't have to be anxious. If you are following, if you are following the instructions, it's a simple process that Prabhupada has given us. Right? Just chant the holy names and be happy, and then he will take care of everything. Our gurus will take care of everything. So yeah, we just have to follow their instructions sincerely. Then we don't have to be worried. All the anxieties will go, and at the end of life, yeah, we'll be able to remember Lord because we have practiced that throughout our life. So if we practice every day, then that is what our remembrance will be at the end. Whenever that end comes, we don't know. Nobody knows when our last breath will be. So, but yeah, if we just follow this sincerely, then I think we'll
Yeah, because throughout the 24 hours, our teachers keep changing. So controlling is not that much good. Like, okay, controlling is okay with a certain limit, but our inclination to God service, chanting, and all this should be there. That's what I'm thinking. Immediately, we cannot control the things like how our senses runs like horses.
Yeah, and that's why, like when we start our day with these prayers in the morning, it sets our consciousness on the right platform, right? It gives us the right impetus to begin our day. And then, yeah, when we are working, of course, we will be in the mode of passion during the work hours. We are struggling and we are working, but again, whenever we get time, even during the lunch break or during some breaks in between meetings, when we are alone, we can be doing our work. We can be chanting. We can just in our mind we can always keep chanting the names of the Lord, right? We can chanting the Maha Mantra. When we are out for a walk during lunch break, we can chant. So at least we are whatever time we are getting, we are able to utilize it. Like I always like, I, it's funny when Amrendra Prabhu was here, he will say that like when he was in college, he would just see whoever you would see in the front, and you just while they are looking at you, you see Hare Krishna on their forehead. Just think, Krishna, Hare Krishna is written on their forehead. You just look at them as if you're reading the Maha Mantra, right? So of course it's a very elevated level of meditation, but again we have to make an attempt, right? So the more and more we try, the more and more we practice, the more and more we'll be able to remember the names of the Lord in every situation that we are in. When you're sitting in front of like you're in a conference room, you're just hearing some presentation, somebody speaking. Yeah, while you're looking at them, on the board, you can just imagine, or on the monitor, you can imagine there is Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, and just in your mind, at least you keep chanting, right? So keep doing that. I think slowly, slowly, we'll be able to have the holy names on our tongue, more and more during the course of the day. And eventually that is the sadhana, that is the practice.
Whatever the service we are doing, either professional or family, if we'll see that it is Krishna Seva, then yeah, our mind will incline to that.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, thank you, Nalan Prabhu. Okay, anybody else has any other reflections?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Dandavat Pranam. Thank you for sharing everyone's reflections to what Nalin Prabhu said. And Nalin Prabhu, I have heard that, Prabhupada is a pure devotee. We are his followers. And Prabhupada said, you just have to hold my dhoti and I will take you back to Godhead. So don't worry. You just have to follow and just hold on to him. And, rest all will be taken care of. So, that we have to have that faith in Prabhupada. Because on our own, we don't have that potential. We can't control our senses. But, Prabhupada can do what we can't. And I wanted to share on this terms, that how are we ever going to be able to make it? And this is the verse we have heard, and I guess everyone has heard, but I really like it. It's in Bhagavatam, Canto 11. Jata Shraddha Mad Kathasu Nirvinna Sarva Kamasu. And in this, the translation is that and I'm reading it, having awakened faith in the narrations of my glories, being disgusted with all material activities, knowing that all sense gratification leads to misery, but still being unable to renounce all sense enjoyment, my devotee should remain happy and worship me with great faith and conviction. Even though he is sometimes engaged in sense enjoyment, my devotee knows that all sense gratification leads to a miserable result, and he sincerely repents such activities. So even Krishna says that he knows that we are going to fall down, we're going to repent, but we're going to still commit it. But regardless, keep going and have that faith, stay happy. So that's what I wanted to share with Nalin Prabhu as well.
Yes, thank you, Prabhu. Thank you, Mataji.
Thank you, Prabhu.
We all can hold this dhoti, right? Just like Krishna becomes the sari for Draupadi, unlimited cloth, Prabhupada has unlimited dhoti. So we all can hold on to his dhoti. There's no shortage of dhoti that Prabhupada has. Yes. Thank you for sharing, Anandi Mataji. Okay, anybody else?
We're over time. 6 minutes over. Yeah.
Okay. We'll pause here. Thank you so much for your kind association and wonderful reflections. The session of now prayers. Panchakalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय,
Jai.
प्रभुपाद की जय,
Jai.
प्रभुपाद लीलामृत की जय, निताई गौर हरि
Hari
हरि बोल.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Have a great day, everyone. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, everyone.
Hare Krishna. Thank you.